Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mindfulness online guided meditation. Thank you for being here. We're here to support each other in our formal mindfulness practice. So we know that mindfulness is good for us, and sometimes it's not easy to keep up a formal meditation practice. So we meet here regularly on most Thursdays, and you're welcome to join in live or listen later. Today, I'm going to guide us in 10 minutes mindfulness of the breath, followed by a few words about patience, which links into compassion. So mindfulness is about being in the present moment and being here kindly. And there's lots of evidence to show that it's really good for us. It takes us out of that constant sense of urgency, of fight and flight, and it creates all sorts of positive hormones in the body. It changes the way the mind operates to the point where we can be more creative, we see more options, we see possibilities rather than problems. And it's simple. It's mostly paying attention to physical sensations in the body. And this brings us into the now. It brings us out of our analytical mind, and it brings us the benefits that I talked about. So good for our immunity, good for our sleep, good for our creativity. And it just takes practice, because you might have noticed that the mind gets very busy. And before we know it, we're not in the moment. We're thinking about what we're going to do tomorrow, or rerunning a conversation that we had yesterday, or making up a story which is not to do with anything else at all. Anything the mind seems to do to keep us out of the present moment, which is the only place that life really happens. So it's good to be here. It's good to show up. And then we can really know what our present moment experience is when we're here, and we can know who we are. So I'm going to guide us. It's helpful to sit in a dignified posture. It helps us to stay alert. And I invite you to be really kind and gentle with yourself as you practice. So when the critical thoughts come in, oh, I'm not doing this right, or why is my mind so busy, then just observe that and come back to the breath as best you can, and as kindly as you can. That seems to be an antidote for the judging mind, who will get in there and tell us that we're not good enough unless we keep an eye on it. Good. So closing our eyes for 10 minutes, mindfulness of the breath. Coming into the moment by sensing the body. Actually feeling what it feels like to sit. Where do we feel our contact with the chair, with the floor? And do those physical sensations change as we observe them? A point of contact here, a pressure there, warmer here, cooler there. Connecting with the body by actually feeling it rather than thinking about it. And maybe there are places where the body is in contact with itself. Maybe the hands are touching, and we can notice how that feels. Maybe the legs are crossed, and we can feel those pressure points in the legs, in the ankles. Maybe our arms are resting against our sides. And we can feel those places of contact, of touch. And maybe we can feel where the tongue is resting in the mouth. The cheeks against our teeth. Maybe we can feel the hair against our neck or face. Coming into connection with the body through the physical senses is an effective way of coming into the moment, of being mindfully present. There are often thoughts as well. And as best we can, we don't engage with the thoughts. We notice they're there, and we draw our attention patiently back to the physical sensations in the body. And staying with those physical sensations. So we patiently dwell in that area of touch or warmth. Rather than taking the attitude, I felt that, and what's next? We stay there and we notice. And once we've come home in this way to the moment, to the body, we invite our attention to the breath. To the gentle rise and fall. To the chest lifting and sinking. To the movement of the belly. To the air passing in the nostrils. Maybe we can feel the rib cage moving, not only in the front and the sides, but round into the back as well, underneath the shoulder blades. Noticing the subtle physical sensations of breathing, and being patient with ourselves. It doesn't matter how many times the mind wanders. We're just here to practice noticing. Being with the breath, accompanying the inhalation all the way in, the exhalation all the way out. Kindly bringing the mind back when it wanders. Coming back to the breath, coming back to direct present moment experience. We are actually feeling the moment rather than thinking about it. Sensing the movement of the breath. And maybe the mind is busy or calm. Maybe the mind takes us off on a story. Or starts worrying or planning. That's just what minds do. And when we notice, we can come back to sensing the breath, experiencing the moment. And being present kindly with ourselves. Just noticing the breath. And noticing perhaps that being sweet and gentle facilitates this present moment awareness. So finishing with a gentle breath and a gentle self-regard. And when we're ready, opening our eyes. And you might like a little yawn, a little stretch. And notice how it feels to come into this other experience of now. So the idea is that when we're meditating, we're especially aware of the moment, and that we keep some of that awareness as we enter into our daily lives. And it's always possible to come into sensing the body. So whether we're reaching for a cold bottle of water from the fridge, or whether we're sipping a hot cup of tea, or we feel the vibration of the car, or we feel our bodies unwind as we get into bed at night and let the mattress take our weight. There are a myriad number of ways of coming into a connection with the body through the senses. And it's this sensing that brings us into a mindful place. And it actually activates our centers for compassion as well. So feeling our bodies activates the same parts in the brain as those that are activated when we're experiencing compassion. And sometimes we find it hard to be compassionate with ourselves. We tend to be a bit strict and harsh. And a sneaky way into achieving a bit more self-compassion is not only to pay attention to the body, because that does what I've just described, but also to be patient with ourselves. So when we're meditating and our mind wanders, and we bring it back, and we do that patiently, time after time, it's a gesture of kindness towards ourselves, and it means that we're worth somebody's patience, worth our own patience. And we know how it feels when somebody listens to us and they're patient and they don't mind how many times we go over the same story, or how much attention we need. When we experience patience from somebody else, it's very nurturing and healing. And when we treat ourselves with patience, it has the same effect. And so we feel worthwhile and we feel attended to, and this helps to give us an insight into what self-compassion can feel like. So sensing the body is very important. Patience also points us in the direction of compassion, and you'll be gathering by now through these different meditation practices that it's all about being kind, and it could easily be called heartfulness instead of mindfulness, because the kind element, the gentle element, is particularly important in living a mindful life and achieving this present moment awareness. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for another shared mindfulness practice online. In the meantime, you can check out the omindfulness.com website for retreats and classes in the south of France, and classes anywhere online by Skype, and keep practicing. Thank you for being there, and have a mindful week, noticing your senses. Bye-bye for now.